Mr. Simpson, thank you for meeting me today.
Hi, Nathan.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
NCAA tournament basketball is on today, isn't it?
I think so. I've been swamped. I haven't had a chance to look at any of the scores or anything, unfortunately.
I like to leave it on at the office a little bit, but I don't really fill up the brackets like I used to, that is.
Yeah, I used to have 3 or 4 of them out there at 3 or 4 different pools. Matter of fact, our guys at the office are doing a bracket and sent me the invite to do it, but I just been too busy. I haven't had time to.
Any potential winners this year? Can you pick anyone out of the bunch?
Yeah, I don't know.
Duke looks good.
Yeah, Duke and North Carolina, the kind of the usual suspects. I think anybody from the ACC, if you picked them or Virginia or one of those teams, is probably a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, it's fun stuff to watch though.
Yeah.
Now so Gary Thomas, who's a friend of mine and I know has actually done work with you guys before, has actually told me that you're an egghead. Is that true?
I am. I've got a big green egg.
I'm a fan of the Big Green Egg. Back at my first job that I ever worked, while I was in high school and college, I actually had to sell Big Green Eggs. So I not only had experience cooking with them, but enough to sell them as well.
Well, it's a passion of mine. I love doing it, and yeah. Matter of fact, I've got a barbecue team that is made up of a bunch of guys who all have big green eggs. We're called Green Eggs and Ham.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
So we take a trip every year down to the southern part of the state and compete in a barbecue competition down there.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to cook on Big Green Egg?
Boy, probably just any kind of protein, but probably pork tenderloins. They're not very expensive and they're really hard to mess up. And
You can spruce it up pretty nice too.
yeah, everybody likes them. So
Back when I was in high school, my dad used to grill with me all the time, and I would probably say my favorite thing I ever had was bacon wrapped meatloaf. So I will tell you that if you haven't tried that before, it is something that you definitely have to try.
I actually have.
You have?
Yeah. They're a little labor intensive, but the
taste is worth it, right?
Yeah, they're money. They're really good.
Tom, let's get down to it.
Sure.
So I want to start out by kind of better understanding the situation that you guys are in currently and how my business at Elite can help you guys find solutions and to kind of more effectively get things back to you.
So what do you know about us now?
So what I know about you now is that kind of like most other businesses in your industry, they all kind of have the same detrimental issues. So their statements don't look good. They're not collecting them fast enough. So a lot of it is mainly overarching in terms of you want to get your money back as fast as you can. And that's what we want to do for you. So we're not goal-oriented and trying to change what you do, but more of trying to implement what we have to better suit the needs that you guys have.
Okay.
So as CFO of Alpha Physicians, I know that you're responsible for collecting money and getting it back as soon as possible. So what kind of issues do you think you run into in that regard?
I would say that we're pretty typical of most physician groups in that we've got about 20 docs in our practice, and just the nature of healthcare and the industry nowadays, more patients are on higher deductible health plans. So, 10 years ago when I first started this position, I wasn't the CFO at that time, but when I first came to the practice, a lot of our patients, after they had their visit and their procedure done, might only owe $100, $200 and could pay that balance right away. And today, probably half of our patients have got at least $1,000 deductible as part of their plan.
Sure.
And in some cases, a lot more than that. So the part that they're responsible for is a lot higher. And so that's changed the paradigm of our business. It used to be majority of our reimbursement came from the insurance company or from the government if it was a Medicare or Medicaid patient, and we get that reimbursement pretty quickly without too much lifting. And then 10% of our receivables were coming from our patients. Well, now it's more like 60-40 or almost 55-45, in that almost half of our revenue is coming from our patients, and it's a lot more challenging for them to pay, and obviously a lot more challenging for us to collect from.
So would you say that one of your overarching issues would be variability in your statement processing? So having the ability to push out statements that can go to an individual and also have effective statements that you can get from insurance and collections? Or do you guys?
Well, they're kind of two different animals. So, once we file with the government or with the insurance company, at that point in time, it's in what's called a claim status.
Okay.
And so we don't bill the patient until the insurance company and the government have already said this is what we're going to pay. So once we get to what's called a self-pay status, this is what the patient owes. I think the challenge that we have is that our statements aren't very dynamic looking, and we get a lot of calls from patients saying that they don't understand really what the statements say. A lot of our patients are older, and so their comprehension level's a little bit challenged. And our statements, again, I kind of wish that they looked differently, that they looked have maybe some more color to them. They're black and white now, and I'm in this industry, and sometimes I don't understand really what our statements say.
Any pushback from users of your statements that say anything about their clarity or their...
Yeah, all the time.
Really?
Yeah, all the time.
Do you think that's part of the reason why you guys aren't collecting as fast as you'd like to?
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. I mean, I think, again, we value our patient feedback, and our patient feedback about their experience with the doctor and with our practice is good. Our scores there are high in terms of, liking the experience at the practice, but our patients, we just get a lot of calls of folks that, it's not that they don't want to pay, it's just that they don't really understand their bill that well. So
sure,
there's no doubt that's costing us money, and it's costing us time.
You have dollar value on what you think that's costing you and your business, or maybe even a time frame? Do you think that it's causing an X amount of weeks or months to get savings back?
Well, just the fact that people owe more than what they used to. The amount that we have to turn over to collection is higher, but that's true across the industry.
Sure.
I don't know that we're going to change that. If we could change anything at all, I would say if we can get folks on payment plans sooner,
okay,
than not. And I would say the other aspect would be we really don't have a way for patients to pay their bill online very easily. We've got kind of a form that they have to fill out on the website that they can pay by credit card, but it's not very friendly. We get complaints about that too, that people say they have to fill out the same stuff every single time.
So you guys find pushback in terms of the amount of work that it takes to fill out a statement and then get it back to you guys?
And not really on the statement side, just more in terms of like I said, I think they owe more than what they typically used to in the past, so it's more challenging for them to pay that sooner.
Sure.
And for us, it's all about reducing our accounts receivable days. So again, when I first started here, most of our patients paid within the first 30 days, and a few might take 60 days or longer. Now, we're lucky if we can get patients to pay us within 90 days. And again, I think that, and many times we're turning them over to collections because they can't pay us even after that. So, and part of that is just due to the fact that people owe more than what they used to because their deductibles are higher.
Sure.
But part of it, again, is just, like I said, I think our statements could be better.
So you think that if they were tailored per customer, so a customer that has a good credit score gets a bill out right, or a customer with a lower credit score could have a payment plan established, would that be something that you think would benefit you guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. What other risks or future problems do you guys see yourself running into opposed from statement collection?
I don't know. For us, honestly, it's all about the Benjamins. I mean, we are
sure.
The faster we can get money in, the better it is for us. I think, like I say, our challenges I don't think are really dramatically different than anybody else's. Probably one of the things that's a little different in the healthcare world that I don't know that really affects our receivables that much is just that consumers of healthcare are starting to shop more. 20 years ago, you just went to whoever your doctor referred you to,
yeah,
or you went to the doctor that was closest to your house or in your hometown. And now, people in Muncie, Indiana will drive to Indianapolis or, even beyond that for healthcare, and they'll shop different places. And sometimes they think, well, if you guys are the local healthcare group, you're not as good as the group in Indianapolis. When in reality, our doctors are among some of the best in the world. So I think, there's some challenges in terms of maybe communicating our message to folks that if they just, would try us, that, they'd realize that the quality of our care is as good as they would get in Indianapolis or a bigger city.
So essentially one thing that we want to do is a trend that is not even just necessarily in your industry, but across multiple industries, is people want things that are tailored to them. So people want their statement processing to fit their needs. And with a business as large as Alpha Physicians, I mean, it's harder for you guys to take what you currently have and push the same thing differently to different people. So
everybody pretty much gets the same statement.
Exactly. So part of my solution to you is obviously we're going to get you your money quicker. But another part of what we want to do is we want to make sure that without differentiating what you guys currently do, that we can take all the information that you guys currently compiled and present that in a way that's more tailored to each of those customers.
How do you do that?
So for example, kind of like I said, one thing that we'll do is customers that have a credit score of over 800, who usually are pretty good with paying their bills, we will send that bill directly to them because those people usually are pretty on top of their things. When, as opposed to if we get a customer that has a credit score of 550 or 600, who's usually pretty delayed on those bills, we won't even send them a bill. We will immediately send them a payment plan because that is going to resonate with them better than, hey, you owe $1,000. When instead we'll send them $100 for 10 months, and that fits kind of more into the need that they have. So I think that one thing that Elite can do is establishing something like a payment plan is something that's not going to differentiate from what you guys currently need to do, and I still think it'll fit your guys' scope of let's get our money and our Benjamins back into our pocket as fast as we can.
So people would just mail us a check then?
So you could do a couple different things. So they could mail you a check, like in the case of we're sending a bill to somebody, or we could do something that's directly online. So whether that be online purchasing directly through your guys' website, whether that could be something that we help you do, or we even have a statement processing that after you fill an original form, they send you a text message and you reply yes or no.
So
and
you can pay by phone.
You can pay by phone. It's 30 seconds.
We've had people ask about that.
It's something, now I mean, I think that with the industry that you're in, technology has always been there, but mobile phones is something that's not always been in your industry for a long time. So, and that's the case with a lot of businesses now, is everything's going to the mobile phone. Everyone wants to do something online and portable. So even if it's not as advanced as other places that you see, having that as an option is going to elevate you guys a little bit more.
Sounds interesting.
Kind of going more in terms of what you guys are looking for from us. What things do you guys look for in a potential new vendor?
Well, obviously, we want to find somebody that's responsive. The vendor that we use now, we're kind of a smaller client to them because they have a lot of bigger groups.
Sure.
And so sometimes we don't feel like we maybe get the level of service from them because we're just a small fry.
Yeah.
And the other thing with them is they don't really, they just want to charge us for everything. So, every time we have a small or minor change we want to make, it takes a long time to get it done, and they always want to send us a bill for it. And so we typically just say, forget about it, because we just don't want to be charged for that.
Yeah.
So we'd like to find somebody that, maybe is a little bit more like us. So how do you guys typically work with clients in that respect?
So essentially, kind of like most situations that you'll deal with, regardless of where you shop, is you'll have a key account manager. So you'll have someone directly in our business who you'll basically relay back and forth. And we use CRM tools to make sure that's the case. But essentially we want that person to almost be a partner of you, meet with you weekly, and essentially kind of better bridge that gap between what you guys currently do and then working with Elite. Because going from what you guys currently do to doing something that we'll offer you, it's almost kind of like a 180 switch. And we kind of understand that there is a big learning curve and a gap there. And the last thing that we want to do is push you guys our product, charge you guys for it, and say, all right, good luck with doing that. So what we start out by doing is, if going with something like us is something you want to do, we'll let you test trial. So we give you about 30 days, so I think it's about a month, of using our statements, and that's for a very small fee. if you guys get the ROI and return on that you like, then we kind of discuss payment plans for that. So you guys will pay us monthly rather than pay by as you go. So if you guys pay us X amount of dollars for the month, these are the amount of services that you get. So if you guys want to add something in there, we're not going to throw you out in the dark, shot at the wall cost that's going to surprise you guys.
Okay.
We want to make sure that we're more partners rather than you guys are buying from us, if that makes sense.
Well, again, we're looking for the people we work with now. It's not that they're bad people. It's just that we feel like a small fish in a big pond to them. We don't feel like we're special to them.
So one thing that I like about the company that I work for is our website allows us, when people come to the Elite website, they don't think that we're a privately owned company in the middle of Muncie, Indiana. They think that we're a nationally recognized statement processing group because we have the tools there, we have the people, and we built rapport with our clients. And I think that's kind of almost an underlying theme that we want to push towards you guys is with our help, you guys are elevated to a different level of business that people will have a better look at and hindsight of you when doing business in the future. So,
okay.
Kind of going forward, we touched about it briefly earlier in the presentation, is one thing or one industry trend that is prevalent among not just you guys, but a lot of people in the industry is people want their money or people want their statements paid quick, easy, and they want it available. So they want it available as in mobile, they want it quick as in it's easy to read, and they mainly want it tailored to them. So we have multiple different options that we can go forth in doing things like that. But I actually wanted to show you a couple different things today.
Okay.
Now, a lot of what we do is proprietary. So before we leave today, showing this, I'm going to have you sign a non-disclosure if that's okay with you. Now, if you guys do like what you see, then we'll go ahead and schedule another meeting, whether that be with just you or other decision makers. That way we can kind of dive more deep into what we offer to you.
Okay.
So I'm going to have you look at this statement that's not from us. And I want you to be able to say if you know what that's asking of you and if you think that statement is easy to read.
Well, it kind of looks like one of ours. It's black and white, and I know what I owe, but I reading the description of the service, I'm not sure if I was the patient. Now I know what this means just because this is our business, but I'm pretty sure if a patient gets this, they probably don't understand it. So, it's not horrible, but it's certainly...
To a normal person that's getting that statement, the only thing that they can make out as something they know is the total cost,
right,
which is the only thing on a vast array of things on that page that they can understand.
Yeah, so that looks, sadly, I hate to say it, but that kind of looks more like what we do now.
I have to agree with you. Now, that's industry standard almost. Going with Elite, this is what a statement can look like for you.
Oh, wow.
There's color, there's pictures, it's easy to read, it's got labels. In the top right-hand corner of that document, you not only see a big bolded total that someone is attracted to, but you also kind of have a very brief itemized what that is. So they're your charges, your taxes, your copay, etc. Now, by going with Elite, like I said, this is industry standard. Going with Elite, we can offer you not only a more detailed approach to your statement, but we're going to offer it in a way that's way easier to read for your customers. So they know what they're paying for.
So is this a statement backer?
Exactly,
okay.
Yes. So that's your statement backer.
So this is front and back.
Exactly.
Okay.
So essentially
I was
on
wondering
that...
where the detail was. So the detail's on the back.
Exactly.
Okay.
So on that back page, for instance, in that example, you have someone that has charges for therapy, their copay, and it's easy to read. I think from what I've heard from you today and from what I know about your industry, one of the big things that you outlined for me is statement design. So
it really looks nice.
So even if we don't go with a enveloped plan of online paying and mobile paying, at least if we can conquer something like statement design, I think that'll help you guys tenfold.
Well, I really think, as if we go forward with in the discussions with you, I think we need to look at it all, because we're getting calls from people who want to pay by phone, and what we have online right now is, like I say, it's pretty clunky. It's just not very patient friendly. So in my mind, my job is to make sure that our, you know, from a financial standpoint, that the practice is collecting money the way we need to.
Sure.
To not just be viable, but to hopefully expand in the future. And the docs want to get paid.
Absolutely.
And the docs they've hired me to make sure that they get paid. So, you know, when I look at this statement design, that's a big deal. But in addition to that, we've got to come up with ways that make it easier for our patients to pay us. Because at the end of the day, to me, the disconnect as a CFO is that patients love our doctors, they love the experience there, and then we get to this part where they don't, and there's just a drop off, there's a failure there on our part. So we're going to make a switch with somebody, and I really like what you've shown me so far.
So in order for us to look at the rest of those and to kind of give you a better tailored presentation to the needs that I just collected from you, why don't we go ahead and schedule another meeting where we can sit down with you and other players from Alpha?
That's fine. And so if you'll go ahead and email me a non-disclosure agreement,
okay,
we'll go ahead and we'll execute that, so you can share some of those, because I'd like to show those to my team,
okay,
especially my revenue cycle director and her team. And then, yeah, I'd like to gather the rest of our team together so they can see some more examples of what you guys do. And would it be possible for you guys to show us some of the payment tools that you talked about?
Absolutely. So what we'll go ahead and do is I'll have a couple of my subordinates set up a presentation that'll kind of outline you with a video, and you guys will bring an iPad as well, where you guys can kind of play with what our mobile site looks like, and you guys can kind of go through an example or pretend that you guys are paying statement on.
Well, we've got satellite locations, so it might be better off if you can do that. Maybe set up a GoToMeeting or
okay,
you know, WebEx of some kind, because I've got excuse me, 3 different locations besides our main office here, and I can't pull people out of those from the.
Sure.
So probably easier for them just to log in from their desktop.
So why don't we go ahead and we can either set up a meeting and
How long is this all this going to take?
usually take about, if we did the entire webinar where we did all that, usually takes about an hour max.
Okay, that's fine.
So I've got a month from today, April 21st. How does that sound?
Well, why don't you do this? Because I got to coordinate schedules with all of my
okay,
folks at those different locations. So why don't you, when you send me the NDA, why don't you go ahead and send me 3 or 4 days and time windows on those days that are open for you and your team, and then I'll share that with my staff, and we'll pick one that works for everybody.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Tom, I think that works for me.
Nathan, thank you.
I really appreciate your time. Thanks for seeing me today.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
Okay, you too.